Dean, welcome to 5 questions now. Used to be 10, now 5. Thanks for joining us. And you're one of the partners in Coming in Hot Racing. Before we get into the 5 questions, I have to ask, how'd you come up with that name?
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Good to be with you. So as luck would have it, my partners and I were sitting at a bar one evening, an establishment, and we were talking about putting a partnership together. 2 of us have spouses who are notorious for running late. And so, picture those 2, scrambling to get somewhere on time and, just flying into a parking lot, screeching tires, coming in hot. That's how we came up with that.
That is absolutely perfect. I said, and just as long as the horses are running towards the finish line at the same speed, you could do nothing but make money and win races.
There you go.
That's terrific. Well, our first question for today is, what was the very first horse you owned and who helped you get involved?
So, we could go back to 2018 with the Double A Gap group and really kind of getting my feet wet there as a minority partner in that group. But that experience was so fun that my 2 partners, Todd Wanschneider and Steve Poser, and I decided we wanted to put together our own partnership. So we worked with Brunel Roan, our trainer, and he located a 6-year-old mare at Tampa Bay Downs, Sapphire Jubilee. So we claimed her for $10,000 back, I want to say February or March, late February, early March, something like that. Raced her a couple times down there and then brought her to Canterbury.
Tell the folks a little bit. You mentioned Double A Gap. Was that the group that Coach Zimmer and Paul Allen had, or they kind of managed?
Yeah, that's it exactly. They, they came out with the idea, I believe actually 2017, and actually one of my other partners, Steve Poser, and I were anticipating being part of that in 2017. For one reason or another, that didn't quite gel, but it did in 2018. Got to meet a few trainers, and that one ended up pretty well. We claimed Gina Baby, I want to say like June of 2018, and she raced a number of times at Canterbury, and so that experience then just launched us into our own partnership. So that was a great time with Coach Zimmer and PA.
I always like asking the next question because I have trouble kind of describing it, but the first time one of your horses won a horse race, how do you put that into words for everybody watching today?
Yeah, it's a great feeling and a lot of fun. I grew up playing team sports, a little baseball, through high school and into college, and I would liken it to that, where you've got a team, you've got a group of partners in this case, and you work hard to try to figure out how you're going to make the partnership work with the trainer. You bring all that together. Then race day, you're out in the paddock, which is a lot of fun with your partners and spouses and friends and family in some cases. And you're in that circle, and you're getting the trainer's last instructions to the jockey, which is like a coach.
We're going to go inside, we're going to go outside, inside and outside. We're going to get them on the run, boys. And once we get them on the run, we're going to keep them on the run. And then we're going to go. And we're not going to stop until we get across that goal line. This is a team they say is good. Well, I think we're better than them. They can't lick us. What do you say, man?
It's like taking the field. You watch, the preparation, the parade, and then they get to the starting gate. A lot of excitement leading up to it, and then we experienced it with Double A Gap Group, where the horse just gets out to the front, and coming down the stretch and wins, and then we're high-fiving in the winner's circle. It's just a lot of excitement. So it seems to me a lot like the team sports and just having that camaraderie. Not that you'd have to be familiar with team sports necessarily to be in horse racing, but that's what I would look at.
Right. I think that's a good way to describe it, because there is a lot of similarity between owning a racehorse and managing your own sports team to a certain degree. And because you're going to be drafting players, i.e. horses. And you mentioned the horse that you had with Double A Gap that went to the lead all the way around the winner's circle. I also remember that horse Mizonaire leaving the gate and leaving the jockey behind in the gate.
I remember that one too. Yeah.
Exactly.
All too well.
Angelina's Heaven looking to win 4 in a row. Angelina's Heaven still clear on that lead. In second, She Might Tell. After that is Viva Forever. The loose horses, perhaps the only menace to Angelina's Heaven, attempting to win 4 in a row. Angelina's Heaven's going to get all the money. Mizonaire wants it, but she has no rider, so she can't get it. Angelina's Heaven.
Tell me,
actually, she won that race.
She won the race without the jockey, so unfortunately, no money for the group. But
correct.
How, as far as when you watch a race with your partners and friends, do you watch it as a group cheered on? I'm one of those guys that disappears to the far corner of the racetrack and have to be by myself because I know I won't behave properly. Do you like having the group and partners around?
Yeah, we hang out together at the track and watch the race. Some of us take it harder than others if she doesn't perform well, but we do like it. It's again, it goes back to the camaraderie and just that feeling of getting together and having a common interest. That's the whole fun of it, really, just to be there with friends and family and partners.
Well, I said maybe I should join your group because whenever one of my horses wins, I'm the last guy to the winner's circle coming in hot because I've been on the far end of the racetrack.
You like you'd fit in well.
Exactly. Tell me a little bit about how you selected your trainers and some of the feedback and things you like when working with a trainer that could help somebody that might be interested in getting involved.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to have that exposure, a couple of years ago. We met Chris Richard through the Double A Gap group, and then Burnell Rowan as well. With Gina Baby, he trained her. I guess what we look for in trainer is somebody who is able to communicate. We want somebody who is willing to share their knowledge, their experience. Burnell's been in it so many years, decades really, and is in the Hall of Fame at Canterbury. So there's a guy who's got tons of knowledge, and fortunately for us, he's willing to share that. And just kind of being on the inside of that process, that evaluation of horses, bringing them to race ready. All of that is important, the communication, responsiveness. But also you do find that trainers are different in their approaches too. And so just kind of understanding that's sort of what I'm finding is the next level in understanding how different trainers can be in the preparation and so forth and evaluation. So, all that is factoring in, but again, we were fortunate enough to be involved with a Double A Gap group to get some of those introductions. And I know that's something that the Minnesota Racehorse Engagement Project does too, where it's like, let's get owners connected. And I think the introduction to the trainers is really kind of at the top of the list or very close to the top of the list of that process for a new owner.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's something, and thank you for the plug because I was going to give ourselves one as well. Because
you do a great job.
Right. It's not like you walk into a racetrack or into the stable area and say, hey, I'm looking for a trainer, and they bring you one.
Right.
But what we try to do is help that process along. We'll find out what a new owner is interested in. Are they interested in simply winning and they want the highest percentage trainer at the racetrack? Or do they want communication? Do they want to come out to the stable area? Do they want to see their horses? Do they want to learn? I mean, Burnell is one of those trainers that is almost a professor to a certain degree. I mean, he's always willing to share insight, and he's got a ton of knowledge. And somebody younger like Chris Richard is somebody that it may be more comfortable using social media or maybe more comfortable using technology to stay in touch and so forth. So there are trainers for every type of owner out there. And whether it's us, somebody like you who's already in the business, or Canterbury Park, there's always somebody out there willing to help. Speaking of Canterbury Park, what's unique about Canterbury and racing at Canterbury Park that you found as a new owner and now a veteran owner to a certain degree? You're a couple of years in.
Funny how quickly you go from new owner to veteran owner. I think, Canterbury for me, it's just kind of the feeling of belonging that, everybody there is willing to help, willing to kind of guide you, show you the way, provide some knowledge and introductions. And it just is it's a feeling of, family, I would say, is probably the closest thing you can get to. Now, obviously I'm a little biased because Canterbury is kind of the home track, but, I've been to other tracks, Churchill Downs, Tampa Bay Downs, Arlington, Hawthorne. So number of different tracks, and Canterbury has always just felt like a good, well-run, clean, facility, and just a lot of, feeling of belonging. I enjoy talking to people out there, and you meet people that, you haven't talked to before, and everybody's very open and willing to talk to you. So it's great.
Yeah, I think that's something that I can't try to communicate enough to people who are interested in getting into thoroughbred racehorse ownership is where you race and how important that is. And of course, this year was disrupted with the pandemic and there weren't as many people out there, but in years prior, Canterbury can have 10,000 people out there on a given weekend. And that's not even the big days. And if you have a horse racing, to hear all those people cheering for your horses, it's, racing down the lane, that just lends itself and people will high five you that you've never seen before and
right.
support. So it really is unique. And contrary to that, not to take a shot at our friends at NYRA, but I've also been out at Aqueduct and seen winners go into the winner's circle, and they're the only 3 people at the racetrack that day. Yeah. So I think environment and getting into racehorse ownership and having that really fun atmosphere lends to the value of the whole experience.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
Can you believe we've been through 5 questions already? People are like, okay, Skirdo, wrap it up. That's it. But I do have a bonus question because it's really important to anybody that might be watching this that's considering getting involved in racehorse ownership. And it starts out with the thought or the misconception that they have to be a millionaire or it's the sport of kings and to get involved. First, is that the case? And secondly, what advice would you give somebody personally if they were looking to get involved in racehorse ownership?
Yeah. If it was a sport of kings still, I wouldn't be sitting here. I can tell you that. I'm just a guy on a relatively small budget trying to have some fun and enjoy the races. But no, it's certainly a manageable way to go. There's a couple things you can do. I would say, first of all, talk to some like-minded people who might have an interest in partnering. I know there's syndicates where you can get in for as little as a few $100s. That's one way to go. Obviously it's diluted, but you still get the entertainment value. But what we did is it's just myself, Todd, and Steve. We wanted purposefully to keep it to a smaller number. Not so much from, a greedy standpoint. It was really a matter of, hey, let's manage the decisions more easily with 3 people instead of 5 or 10 or whatever the number is. So the decision making is a lot easier for the group. We're all like-minded. We all are, have open eyes to the fact that, hey, this may not work out. It might, but we put the partnership together, came up with our budget. We each put in $8,000 and felt like that was a number that, the world's not going to end if things go south for us, but yet, maybe it's something we can build on. And so we came up with that, so it's really just partners, figure out a budget, find a trainer that you connect with. And again, you kind of have to figure out what's important to the group. But we wanted to be educated. I had a little knowledge coming in, but that's just because I'm old and have watched horse racing for a long time. But we wanted somebody who was willing to offer some knowledge and experience. And so find the trainer, and then it's just a matter of, okay, of our total budget. So for us, it was 24,000. You maybe go 40%, 50%, and look for a horse to claim at that level. So that's what we did. Now, Sapphire Jubilee is still in the stable, and she's racing at Hawthorne now, and we'll be in Tampa, this fall and winter. But we also picked up a horse at auction, and so that's pretty exciting. So that's a different way to go about it. You go to the auction at the at the track there. It was in end of August, and there's about 50 horses ranging anywhere from, some were not, bought at all, and others went for $85,000, I believe. So you've got a range of budget to keep in mind there. So we picked up a horse for $2,600 at the auction, a nice gray, grandson of Tappet. And we'll see how he does. He's at Burnell's brother's farm right now, learning the ropes. So he's a year old. He'll be 2 in obviously January 1st, and then we'll see if he can hit the track in next summer at Canterbury.
Yeah, I think that's that's kind of the next step for a lot of owners is starting out in the claiming game and claiming a horse, and then maybe moving to yearlings. And I said, the day you buy your first yearlings, like walking out of the convenience store, the Quick Trip with your lottery ticket, I said, and you get to hold on to it and have all those discussions until either it hits or you gently throw it away.
That's a good analogy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it is exciting to get into that side of the business as well. So, in the partnerships, I think that's certainly a great way to go. I believe in talking to Justin from Rocket Wrench last time, he kind of lined it up to say, listen, either buy season tickets, you join a country club, you go on vacation down to Disney World, all that ends up costing you $5,000, $6,000, $8,000.
Sure.
And you can get into racehorse ownership with a couple of your friends, and it's a year-long or at least summer-long experience that is so unique and so enjoyable that people end up staying in the game, and that's what's beautiful. And you have a great time, and that's why I've enjoyed seeing you out at the track. You and your partners always seem to be having a good time and enjoying win, lose, or draw, as they say.
Right.
That you're enjoying the thrill of it. You're rooting on the horses, and I only see good things going forward for Coming in Hot.
We'll see. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for everything. And if anybody has any questions, you can run them through the Minnesota Racehorse Engagement Program. Or next year when you're at Canterbury, feel free to walk up to Dean. He'd be more than happy to help. I know the kind
Absolutely. My pleasure.
So thanks again, Dean.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. And thanks to the Minnesota Racehorse Engagement Project for all they do. Appreciate it.